Good evening and welcome, viewers. Welcome to this week's edition of Talk to Sven. Firstly, allow me to thank you for last week's comments, engagements on my taxi ride. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Once again, welcome Selma Moses, our sign language interpreter, who joins me on this journey of Talk to Sven. Today and tonight, I have somebody very special, the very famous Denver Kisting. And Denver and I am going to be talking about purposeful leadership. And what will be changing a little bit, we're changing the tables a bit for a change. So in other words, from the taxi to changing the table with Denver Kisting.
Good evening.
Good evening, Denver. Welcome.
Good evening, Sven. Good evening, Salma. Good evening, viewers. It gives me great delight. It's a huge pleasure to be steering the ride this evening. Sven, let's get straight into it. You mentioned purposeful leadership in your introduction. What exactly are we talking about when we're referring to this concept?
Well, the purposeful leadership is something that has really come to the fore in 2008 and 2009 and 2010 during that time. For a great success, for something you want to achieve in your life, it all starts with a dream. Now, once you have a dream, you can find your purpose in this dream. Now, if you're driven by a purpose, a bigger cause, a reason, then motivation is self-propelled. I don't have to tell you to do the job. And this is where the purpose comes from. And I think in today's world, modern organizations are more and more adopting a purpose.
How does one go about finding your purpose, finding your dream, so that you can ultimately honor that?
Yeah, obviously, purpose is a very much self-driven initiative. Firstly, I think me as a leader is, I have my personal purpose. I have a love for giving life to people, and that means a lot of things. Giving life to people. It could be life quality. It could be happiness. And I'm a person who loves if people are happy, and that gives me my purpose. Now, how do I live my purpose? How do I never have to go to work other than by creating an organization like we have for the Old Time List Group, where we have a purpose, creating a future and enhancing life. Now, by giving life to people, can live my purpose through the purpose of the organization. And at the end of the day, I'm creating a future and enhancing life every day. I never go to work.
By living out your purpose, by living your dream, you also inspire others to do the same. Please talk to us about inspirational, purposeful leadership.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. Many CEOs or leaders of organization do a lot of training and a lot of send people on courses. They do whatever and then expect that people are motivated. The point is, the secret is, like the question you have posed now, how do we get people to embrace the organization's purpose? Now, one thing's for sure, everyone has a purpose. Not everyone has discovered it. If you come if you come to the world and you say, I have no purpose, then I suggest you might as well end your life right there. If you have no purpose, so it can't be that people don't have a purpose. Now, the secret is, as a leader, with the aim of a purposeful leadership, is to connect people's personal purpose to the purpose of the organization.
How does one go about that, aligning people's individual purposes with that of the organization to make sure that once it's aligned, that they can also drive the organization forward?
Sure. Well, number one, one has to spend the time to find your own purpose. Now, what we do is we have what is called the Owner World, where we teach people to find a purpose. So, for example, after a lot of interviewing, a person by saying, "Why, Denver? Why are you doing that?" Because I'm working. So why do you need to work? I need money. So why do you need money? I need to sustain my life. So why do you need to sustain your life? Because I want to look after my family. So why do you want to look after your family? You want to make sure that your family has a great life. Why you want to do that? Because I want them to be happy and the society live. Why do you care about the society? Because at the end of the day, the society makes up our country, our nation, which is the reason why you do things. We had this perfect example. There was one person that lives in a village where are 10 people. He thought he didn't have a purpose until he discovered that he wants to improve the life of his village, the 10 people. What a great... So he never goes to work. He discovered that he actually goes to live, to improve the lives of his village.
What I hear you say is also, and that's also what resonates with me, is part of our purpose is what makes us tick. So let's take one slight step back. What makes you tick to help you fulfill your purpose?
Yeah, firstly, there's a common sense. Now, I believe, that we are all living in the same boat, right? Now, if the boat sinks, we all go together. So there is an absolute need for us to unite in whatever we do or want to achieve. Now, for example, there's this perfect example where there's a hole in the boat, and two people are trying to keep the water out of the boat. The other ones are sitting on the other side of the boat and saying, "Sure, glad the hole is not at our end." What they don't realize is, if that boat sinks, we go together. For example, with the current situation in Walvis Bay with the COVID, if we don't get that under control, we are affected as well. So we own that too. So my passion about this purpose is that if we have a common purpose, we together can overcome any challenge, seize opportunities, and live our dreams. To give everyone a decent, great life, a happy life, and so forth. And the African proverb says, "Alone we walk fast, together we walk far."
Because one's purpose is part of who you inherently are, one can't be taught your purpose, but you can be helped to discover it.
Correct.
Please talk to us about the importance of training and development, and you already touched on it earlier, to help people embrace the concept of purposeful leadership.
Yeah, it is a self-introspection where you really, really say, why am I doing what I'm doing every day? Why do I care of what I'm doing every day? And I think once we've discovered that I have a passion for my being at my village or my family or whatever it is, I can then make sure that I see the connecting it to what I do every day. Like I said always, that if you're passionate, if you go to work and you're passionate about your salary, right? Then what happens is on the 24th, if it's paid on the 25th, on the 24th you look forward to it. On the 25th you get paid. On the 26th you start spending it, and then you have to wait a whole month to be inspired again. That can't be. So we need to be inspired by something bigger, a purpose that every one of us realizes, if I can find that connection, I have a different life. I can live to improve things for everyone. I don't have to live just to work and earn the salary.
So when I think there's consensus that charity starts at home, and when I listen to you, when I hear you speak, you broaden the concept of purposeful leadership. You also speak leadership into our homes. Please touch on that.
Yeah, firstly, people often say, "Denver, you're a leader and I'm not." Or "Sven, you're a leader and I'm not." That's your job, right?
And what does that mean?
Exactly. But I hate to break you bad news. Or good news, everyone is a leader. If you want to tell me that you are not leading yourself, you're not leading your life, you're not leading your family, surely that can't be. So we are all natural leaders. And if we if we can understand that every single contribution, let's go and look at a simple example is such a security guard at the retail store, say at one of the stores we have. If the gentleman or the lady greets you as a customer and welcomes you for the day, you know, what a different experience you have for the entire walk through when you go shop. Now, if you have a bad experience in the beginning of your shopping, the entire shopping will be bad. You know, it's one single contact point, like being at the bakery. One salesperson treats you badly, you think the entire journey was expensive. And that's why if you ask me how do you drive home, everyone is important. If you realize that I'm mere, whatever title or job I have, how important I am by adding to the journey of what we dream about, being it a shopping experience, being it the ownership of a house, whatever it is, I can make a difference. And I don't have to wait for others. You know, and I think that's so important that we drive this behavior into homes of everyone. And I think you also, also that topic is obviously a major topic. You know, as part of a great leadership, we have to have discipline with values. Now, what we've got that set of values. Very simple. Often you find very complex values, complex statements, mission statements, vision statements. Keep it simple so that people can take it home. We've got examples where people have taken our set of values home. And children have taken to the kindergarten some of those values. This is how we live, you know. Let's do it, let's talk, we do the right thing right, and as for the entire set of the values we have. So this is how we can bring it to people home. The rationale is very clear: to live your dream, to achieve the impossible, but yet it's our responsibility. And I said about the boat, if you are not well, it's my issue too. If I walk and think, he's got a problem, that's a problem for me. Because the more, or the more you're in a good space or a better space, the more I can be a better space. And that's also the same thing in the country, with organizations and so forth. If organizations do well, you can do better. There's not such a thing that I do well amongst a lot of that don't do well. It just doesn't work. It may be short-term, maybe very beneficial for you, but it won't last long.
So if I hear you correctly, purposeful leadership has the potential to transform our society, to transform our homes. What do you make of that?
Denver, I can't agree more with you. It has the opportunity to really change our lives. It has the opportunity, not only from being better in what you do, but from a good feel, from a view that you want to do things better for people. If you feel if you come home and you feel you've done something good for others, that's a wonderful feeling, right? And if you can all see that, and if everybody thinks that way, can you imagine what then is possible? And I think today, unfortunately, again, that we have too little purposeful leadership. We always talk what's wrong. We don't talk what could be right. And the law of attraction. I've also mentioned yesterday at a meeting that we talk about poverty and income inequality and unemployment, and we talk about that one. Why don't we talk about employment creation, prosperity? All the things that can create that. So if the more we bring rationale, the more we bring purpose into our nation, the more we can create things that were not there before.
Because abundance is your birthright.
That is correct.
Yes. Sven, you touched on the heart of the matter just now, that we are all inherently leaders. For a viewer this evening wondering, Shu, that resonates with me, but how do I go about it practically to become self-led? Where do they start?
I always say the first thing, there are various shops, whether it's Pupkewitz or Game, I guess. Or any of these shops, you go there and buy the mirror. And you put up the mirror at home, and then you look in the mirror and see yourself in the mirror. That's me. That's Sven. That's me, who can make a change, who can make a difference. That's the starting point. When you realize you start with yourself. Take some time for you. I mean, we live the whole life. Why do you just take some serious focus and time on yourself to find out what are you passionate about? What is what is it that you do? Why you do things every day that you do? Spend some time to figure that one out. Once you figure that one out, consult yourself in the mirror and again and again and again to get to the bottom of yourself. And I think if we can get to the bottom of this one and see the rationale, it's the starting point. It starts with you. If we wait for others, Denver, many people wait for others. I had to break the bad news. You're going to wait forever. And there's only the one person, you, no one else.
What I also hear you say is that it depends on the type of questions we ask ourselves and the quality of those questions and how far you go with unpacking that and decoding yourself and the way you go about your life and your purpose. Is that correct?
Yeah. And that's, we could call it often peeling the onion. You peel something off. And the thing is, also with a purpose, and what we've realized when we do these, we call this genius interventions, where we interview people to get their best version, find their best version of themselves. It's a very, very tedious and tough process to get to the bottom of yourself. It is not, sometimes you feel like when you go through these interviews and you interview yourself and you look at it can become very uncomfortable.
Yes, it requires brutal honesty and accountability of the self.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Using the analogy of the onion, if you peel it one layer at a time, you might shed a tear along that journey and have to take one step back and get some perspective on your own life.
Yeah, and not only that, you may discover whatever you have thought so before, maybe not quite true.
Yes.
And that's fine. That's just another leaf that you peel. Another piece you've peeled up. That's it.
Are you saying that part of the peeling process involves discovering that you may need to revisit your beliefs that you've been holding on to that might no longer serve you?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many people say, I can't. Or people say, I didn't study. I didn't have the same opportunity as you. Now, when the world was created, was everybody studying? No. The most successful business people today, almost, you can't generalize completely, but they have all learned how to create a business in terms of from themselves. You can't study that at university. And that's a big issue. Leadership is such an important part. It doesn't get taught at school. I understand now we're starting to. But you can't train leadership. Leadership is something through, must be driven yourself, obviously with guidance and support and everything else. But the beliefs of saying, I can do, or I am educated, I can do whatever I want, is the basis for creating something. So changing your beliefs about yourself is sometimes hard because it's quite easy to hide behind excuses. You see, I didn't study, that's my problem. And that's why I'm fine, It's excuses why I'm doing what I'm doing. I had to break the bad news to you. You're not fine. Buy that mirror and look at that mirror. Change that view about yourself.
Very well, Sven. Bringing it back to the present situation, not only Namibia, but the entire world faces this invisible enemy, COVID-19. How can purposeful leadership help us to deal with these challenges? You spoke about the situation in the Orongo region, specifically Walvis Bay, that's the epicenter of COVID-19 in Namibia. Can purposeful leadership actually serve a purpose under those circumstances to help change the trajectory?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the only way how one really can get out of it. If we know what the benefit is of a healthy nation, of the difference I can make, the difference, if we talked about earlier the mask, whether we should wear one or not. I mean, for the show we have our distancing, and
Yes.
so forth. But if it's important to me to contribute to preventing this disease, you don't have to tell me to put that on. The problem is if I tell you to put it on, you says, yes, Sven, we'll do it. You get around the corner, you won't do it.
Because it doesn't come from our heart.
It must come from you. And I think that's, especially in Orongo right now, we all, I think, owe the Orongo region a bit more ownership. I think it feels like almost Orongo people have a stigma. You know, when I saw the other day, people get driven with buses and police and all sorts to the airport. Yeah, I understand, but you know, it's still this is maybe going a little bit too far. I think we all need to see what we can do to own Walvis Bay or the Orongo region as well. You know, because at the end of it, we're sitting in the same boat. Same as it started. You know, we all. It's suggested or it's said that apparently it's because the two drivers broke out. And so forth, that the whole thing was accelerated and so forth. So we really need to, you know, help. I don't know what, but a belief is by maybe we believe we're going to have healthy nation in Walvis Bay or in Orongo. What does that mean? We have to set up, and I know right now we need to set up container hospitals. We need to do whatever possible from all sides, from the rest of us in Namibia, to support the Orongo region. And at the moment, that's done a little bit less. We're leaving, I think, them too much alone.
Let's touch on the government of the day too. Do you think there's sufficient purposeful leadership guiding us and helping us become better, own our journeys better, or is there also room for improvement?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's easy to talk when you're not in position. So maybe I can rather answer it from a general point of view, whole world. If we as an organization believe we know, we have the answer, then we are lost already. So can we do things better? Also, with us as an organization, every day. There's so many things I have not discovered how we're going to do it better. How do we reach people a lot more than we've got today? So yes, I mean, governments, I think, there's a wake-up call to be had. And I think if you look at the world leadership, it's pretty sad what's going on. I don't know where we really find top leaderships, where our country's well led. Not many around. And I think the moment people are tired of, they have an issue with trust. You know, so, you know, through purposeful leadership, I think we can restore it. You know, with the social media today, no one trusts anything. You do your own story. You don't even trust newspapers anymore. You know, people make their own story and build it. So the big issue is that people has lost trust because we have too few purposeful leadership in the world.
But if I accept responsibility for my own purposeful leadership journey and I become self-led, I know that it doesn't only serve a purpose to criticize the government or our leaders. I need to make a meaningful contribution too.
And that's where we said earlier, many people waiting for governments and others to do it right for them. What is that? You are the government. You are the nation. You are the one who's going to make that difference. I think every day when we complain about any organization or institution or government or whatever, we're wasting time. What are you wasting time for? Spend that energy into something positive, what you can generate. And I mean, most people say, Sven, you can talk so easily. So what else is it? It is that easy.
Very well. So when I wish we had the entire evening to further unpack this concept of purposeful leadership.
Yeah.
We definitely need to continue this conversation, but let's slowly start wrapping up in terms of where one starts and how one, if you already regard yourself as a purposeful leader, how you can accelerate your journey and make use of this crisis. Don't let this crisis go to waste and actually drive your journey forward.
Correct. Very, very important to firstly have the realization, I am a leader. Change your view. You are a leader. Don't think you're just a whatever, a salesperson or this or that. You are a leader as a basis. When you have realized that you are a leader and take that leap of faith, I am, even though if you don't believe it, keep on believing it because later it will become that way. Do it. Secondly, look at that mirror. Look at yourself. What is it I want? What is that inspires me about my life to do whatever I need to do? The next point is to have conversations around you. You make people, tell people your dream. What is that you dream about? Create a belief. You know, I think if we enter in a room and I tell you about my dream, Denver, and what I love about it, you're going to smile. You're going to be thinking, okay, how are you going to achieve it? But if I come into the room and saying, you know, life is tough. Yeah. You know, it's not working and it's my grandmother. Oh, my mother-in-law is my way and everybody else. It's you. No one else is in your way. You can make choices. And then, of course, the next step is continuously to have these questions around how you can do things better in living your life, and then see how you can connect what you do every day to a bigger reason, your purpose. I go to work because, and maybe you can convert it, I live my purpose. That's why it happened to be a place there where I find a workstation or where I find whatever else it is. But see this as contributing to your family or your society, the country at large. And this is something where you know you can make a huge step in your life. And if you don't find what you dream about, create it, do it. Don't wait for someone else. Then if you find your purpose and this is about how can I live it, find it, create it, what you want.
Just in conclusion, does that also mean that if I find myself in a space at the present moment that doesn't serve me well, that doesn't serve my purpose well, that I have a responsibility to step out and make sure that I create a space that helps me fulfill my purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think I wouldn't like step out immediately, but I would firstly try and influence before I step out in what I do every day. And I've never seen people that try the utmost and the best and, you know, finding the bigger reasons, looking engagement and being friendly and have ever been failing. Well, if you fail, then you better get out very quickly. Then, of course, if you don't find it, then go in the situation or circumstances you are, then go and find it elsewhere. You will find the people that dream too. You will find the people that want to achieve the great things too.
Sven, I want to thank you for two things this evening. One is thank you for leading by example. I want to acknowledge that. And thank you for allowing me to lead Talk to Sven this evening.
It's a pleasure, Denver. And I really like to thank you. He's an excellent guy. And thank you, Denver, for all the questions, the great thing. Also, Selma, thank you very much for what you've done. Once again, to keep everyone informed, and looking forward to see you next week. Thank you.